Welcome everybody once again to the HB Studios weekly Twitch feed, or what we hope will be a weekly Twitch feed. At least we've been pretty good about it for the last few weeks. This week I am joined by yet another member of the miraculous dev team at HB Studios, Paul, who many of you might know as HB Paul in the forums. Our resident GNCD guru at HB is going to take us through some I think new stuff, right, Paul? We're going to get some new stuff.
Yeah, we have a few of the walls and retaining walls, some of the new objects that we're adding into the course designer for everyone to play around with the next release. So.
Great. So Paul's going to show us some new stuff we might go over if we have time. This will be our first endeavor doing the Twitch in the Greg Norman course designer. So, excuse me, we'll see how it goes. We might throw in some tips and tricks on some standard stuff. Paul and I talked about maybe some brushes and stuff like that. And then we also have a bunch of questions from the forums that I will throw at Paul either throughout the demonstration or at the end of it. We haven't decided yet. So
yeah, no, just go ahead and throw them out whenever. I'm just going to...
Whenever.
Yeah.
All right. So, Paul, it looks like you are in the GNCD.
Yes. Yeah, just loaded up a countryside theme here just to take with a random plot of land with no holes or anything like that. And I suppose you just start get into it here.
All right. So what are you gonna start us off with? Are you gonna start off by showing us some specific items, or are you gonna start off by kind of showing us how you go about working in the GNCD?
Yeah, we might as well get the some of the walls and such out of the way early, I suppose. Just laid out a hole here to run alongside the water, this little pond that was generated. I would usually go in and set a lot of the default values down, so there's no bunkers, no fairway and whatnot. I like to set a lot of that stuff myself when I'm laying them out. The random stuff's good for if you're just looking for a quick course, but if you're putting serious time into it, I think you need to lay it out yourself.
Right. I'm guessing all the people watching today are more of these serious timers than the
for sure
random generators.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess one of the big things that's been asked for a lot are the retaining walls.
Yes.
And I have the wrong build running. That's good to know. Might as well start off with...
You don't have the build running that has the retaining walls in them?
No, I do not. It looks like this this looks like this is a regular build off of Steam right now. So.
Oh, so can you just switch, or do you have to re-download the unstable build?
No, it should be here. I will fire that up.
How about while you're doing that, I ask you some questions?
Go for it, yeah.
So obviously, guys, we have multiple builds of the game, and the public version doesn't have retaining walls, as you all well know. The picture-in-picture window is blocking the selector, isn't it? The top left corner of the game.
Yeah, well.
Picture. I don't know if you can. I don't know how that's set up, actually. I didn't think that's controlled by Dylan on your end.
Can I move that?
It might be good for keeping secrets. I don't know.
Maybe.
If there's anything that we don't want to show off. But while you're getting the right build set up, we're going to look at changing that camera, guys. But while you're looking at that build, why don't I throw out some questions for you that the community put into the forums for us. These are completely random questions. They're about everything from when are certain objects going in to when are certain tools going in. I'm sure I haven't seen it yet, but I'd be shocked if there wasn't a question about a tropical theme. I'm sure there's questions about other themes. So I'm just going to go straight down the list, and I'll start with Crazy Canuck. I think you've had a chance to look at these, so hopefully you have at least some idea what's coming at you. But so I'll just start with Crazy Canuck, who was wondering about the progress of allowing the designer to alter the wind during design in the course design process.
That's one that I know we've discussed it, but there's not been a whole lot of traction to move forward with it, unfortunately. it's definitely on the list. And you've designing courses in real life. You have different wind patterns that tend to happen, so we'd like to bring that in. Like I know our local course here, the wind's always blowing left or right off the first tee, pretty much 90% of the time you play. So we'd like to dump that into the game at some point. I think it's more than just a course creator change. It'd be some physics and stuff like that, which we'd have to get Adam to weigh in on what would be required on his side. And but it's definitely something we hope to get to at some point. Unfortunately, it's gonna have to give you the vague. It's on the list answer.
Not in the next 2 weeks.
No, not in the next 2 weeks, unfortunately. I'll try to find various ways to use that answer for a lot of things and keep it interesting. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a truth for so many things. But so one of his other questions, which I think is actually an interesting question, he asks also what the chances are of some bushes and grasses from the countryside theme becoming global objects. And I think there was some interest in that for some of the trees as well. What are the chances of that? What are the chances of some of the stuff from the countryside theme becoming global?
I think it's pretty good. The way the system's set up in the background is a lot of the bushes and grass and trees are unique to the themes we have set up.
Right.
We have switched it so we can. We do have the global detail objects now, so that we can start to take advantage of. I think it's just a matter of time of testing them to make sure they look right, given the background of the themes. If there's the Lynx theme might have is darker grass, so some of them might not look as natural there. So it's figuring out what's going to go where.
What would actually be able to work across all five, or however, not five themes, but however many themes we have at any one time?
Yeah, there's definitely that. And then just also just memory constraints with, each one of these objects that we put in is, there's, limits to how much we can add in on each theme. So we need to just, I think we should be good for that. It's just a matter of finding the time to go through and do it.
Right.
I know there's also been some talk of sort of upgrading the older themes, the original ones we had, so they hopefully could get some of the newer grass and bushes that we have that look a little nicer, maybe a little natural than what we had back then.
Right.
And at the very least, that would just give you they would be available in there as well, so you can plant them to your heart's content.
Sure. All right, looks like you got the right build up now.
Yeah, we got the right build up here. So I'll jump in, and it's going to be really embarrassing if this doesn't work. There we go, walls.
It's okay. That's so be the first time, especially when we're demoing stuff from what we call the unstable build, meaning it's not,
Yeah, so
fully vetted at this point.
We have my view there is blocking everyone off, so I'm not sure how to switch that. I'm not a Twitch expert, so
to move the camera on the top left of the screen there.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Dylan, if he's watching this, can come in and mess around with that while you're.
Yeah, well, he's not around me right now, but hopefully he'll be walking by shortly, and I'll flag him down. So you have to take my word for it when I say there's. We have a bunch of different types of fences, like brick walls, metal fence, chain link fence, wooden fences. So we have them organized by groups where you go in and select what you want, and then there's the various pieces that make up those fences that you could lay out.
Paul, maybe you could zoom in into the fairway and sort of just show it cycling through them.
Oh, it's sort of a new submenu up above. So, and then you choose what you want. So I'm in the retaining wall section, and we have various pieces that make it up. So, okay. Okay, they're saying we have to stop the stream if we want to move the window. So we'll just we'll keep that a mystery for everybody.
That's right.
So I'm in the retaining wall section. We have a bunch of different pieces you'll see scrolling through, and then so they'll place down. The retaining wall is the these ones will snap down to the water like some of the other objects in the game, like the lily pads or whatnot. So they're a little different than the rest of the fences that we added in. And We just have some issues with the clipping on them right now that we need to clean up before this goes in. Just need to reiterate that it's still a work in progress. There's still a few minor issues to clean up,
Yes.
but we'll have that done in the next week or so and have everything ready to go. So we've built them with these little pieces of grass jutting off land jutting off the edge, where you can use that as to raise the land up. Unfortunately, the density of the terrain that we have doesn't allow for a nice, smooth, flat, vertical surface. So we just have this little cheat there, and then the key to that would be to raise the land up to match where the wall's at. Just a moment here while I. Yeah, one of the great things to see is as much as time I've spent in here, I still stumble around pressing the wrong buttons. So the retaining wall is definitely going to be something that's going to require some work to have it look nice. If you just place them down, it is going to look a little odd. But I think judging by the work a lot of people do, we're making it the easiest possible for them. But they're willing to do that, do the extra work in the courses. So there's a quick little retaining wall just at the front of this fairway here that I laid out. And just bring the land up to sort of smooth out that little dip that was there. Oh, there's a bunch of the new brushes we've added in as well that we just cycled through. So yeah, we have some new shapes going in for bunkers and hills and whatnot. So
for surfaces also,
I believe so. I'd have to double check. Most of those, Jim, our art lead, can just hook those up himself. So he just throws brushes in and mentions it to me, and I sometimes forget to take a look at all his hard work. But he's the other half of this. He makes everything look pretty. So, but yeah, there's the retaining wall there. So.
Now, is there more than one style of retaining wall?
We just have the one right now. We're going to look to add some more in at a later time, but they were sort of something we put in. We were just going to do walls and fences, regular walls and fences at first, where we have multiple styles. And we decided to do some extra work and get these in there, but unfortunately that came at a cost of just having the one sort of wooden retaining wall that you see there.
Right.
We do have.
I guess if our creators are if what's been done is any indication up to this point, my guess is they would likely find a way to use the other walls and fences.
Yeah, I've played around with that a little bit, where you can line up the other walls in front of it and get a nice brick wall or something like that. We also, we've thrown in a post here, so you can sort of. Sometimes if the seam doesn't line up properly, you can cover that up with these posts. And then as well, I used the large size retaining wall, but we also have these small pieces. We have some corner pieces, so you can, have a nice square island or something like that. And then we just have a small piece like this if you're trying to, or a couple small ones like that. So if you're trying to have like an arc or something like that, we can give you the pieces to make the turns that you need to match the contour of the land. So,
forgive me for chuckling as you're talking, but some of the reaction in the chat, in the Twitch chat, has been, let's just say, perhaps inappropriately happy.
Well, that's good.
with some funny comments. Yes.
Well, as long as they're getting dirty before I am, so.
Yes, that's right.
So yeah, I guess
this is just go ahead.
This is just the retaining wall. The piece off the top will match the surface beneath it. So you'll see as I move it how it sort of takes the takes the fairway or the rough, or when you get out over the water, it's matching basically the dirt underneath. So one of the tricks when working with this is to realize that, like, if you're seeing it out off of the side of the water where a fairway wouldn't normally be drawn, you won't see that on the wall. I'm hoping to get a chance to adjust that in the shader right now. So hopefully when it comes out, it'll just take whatever grass you lay on top of it with a brush. So, but yeah, those are the retaining walls. Hopefully everybody likes them, and we'll finally get to start making their island greens. And it was, I think, I forget the first course I saw using one of the stone bridges as a retaining wall, and we're pretty blown away by that. And hopefully this makes things a little easier on folks, because trying to recreate that and raising the land was a little hectic and frustrating sometimes. So
right. I know it's definitely one of the sought after items, the more sought after items.
Yeah, and like I said, once we'll have the basics in for this, we should be able to make more styles for future releases too. So we're not you're not stuck using just the the one wooden wall that we have here. We definitely want to try to get bricks and stone and everything else that you would see in the various courses around the world. So
right. It looks awesome. I think you're going to have some very, very excited course creators. Now, are we? I can't remember. You and I didn't talk about this before we started broadcasting, but are we talking about when this is coming? Did we say that already?
I don't know when the update's going to go out. Hopefully, I think in the next couple of weeks, we're hoping to submit it for approval. I just basically get told when the deadline is and rush to get as many course creator changes in as we can. So, I've probably
every update cycle.
Yeah, right? I've probably been told a dozen times and just don't remember. So,
but this is going in the next update.
This will be in the next update. Yeah. So
right. If you guys remember, we split what was going to be the March update into two updates. One that will be at the end of February, beginning of March-ish, and one that will be coming in the beginning of May-ish. And so the one that's coming in the next few weeks will have a new theme that we're not discussing right now, and it will have some of the course creator additions we're going to show you today, as well as a few other things that aren't course creator specific that we're not necessarily showing just yet. And then there'll be another. The second part of that update will come in probably early May with the career mode and another theme and some other stuff too. But that looks fantastic, Paul. I think people are going to be really, really excited about retaining walls.
Great, I hope so. They've been something we've wanted to get in as long as possible. For as long as the game's been out. It's hopefully somebody can dig back to an old post on the forums where we said it's on the list. We're not sure when the retaining wall comes out, and we could at least say, we do follow through on some of the promises. So
we do. The thing is the list is so long, and the list is long is not in my mind indicative of the fact like there's so much to be done, but there's so much we want to put in the game, and that we want to be able to do. But all of it takes time, obviously, as people know. We've said that before, and people know that. So people in the chat are asking about saying show us your fences, asking about the stairs.
Sure, we can. Let me just.
Do you want to show them some of the other stuff that's in that new category that they're going to get?
Yeah, we will. I'll jump into that right now. I'll lay out another hole here, and let's. Usually a set of stairs walking up onto the tee, so might as well keep that tradition alive. So I'll raise this tee box up a little. So the stairs will be found in the same section with the walls there. So we have a couple of different types here. There's sort of a cement stair. And then we have various levels here, so you can sort of get some custom height without having to lay out individual bricks by brick. And we have some brick stairs and some wooden stairs. So they are sort of set a little bit into the into the land. See how they'll dig in, so you sort of get that built-in staircase look. And I will just use these wooden ones here. Put those guys down, and then switch to the smaller set. Try to get that lined up. This is a little bit of a tricky part there, where you might get. And there's a quick staircase. So another. It's not quite lined up as nice as I'd like, but I think people can see the results there. So we have some staircases that you'll be able to build up onto your hills using the individual stair. You can sort of wrap around a circular hill or something like that if you want a little spiral staircase going up. But yeah, they're another quick addition that we threw in sort of late last week, and I think they're going to help revolutionize the look people have for their courses. I know in the game, people, one of the biggest surprises in the game is just the creativity people have used existing objects to. I think that old wooden bench became a staple on many courses for staircases, and hope not to kick that bench while it's down or anything like that, but now we have a few other options for people. So
Jim asked, and this is a question that we've had actually relative to bridges as well, and I haven't talked to you about this, but have you looked into snap to functions? So like bridge pieces would sort of snap together a little easier, the stairs might snap together a little easier. Is that something you've investigated?
Yeah, we've discussed that. We haven't actually written any code to try it out yet, but we do have that on our radar, especially now, where there was only a couple bridges. It was frustrating, but now that we have all these other objects, the stairs, the fences, the retaining walls, this is definitely something we're gonna seriously look at. I'm not sure, it's high on the list to make this easier to snap together, but it's not. I'm not sure exactly when. I have a few other features that I've been working on that have been requested that I'd like to finish up and get out there for an update as well. So, if everybody can be patient with us, realize that we're working on stuff that's requested, and we'll get there hopefully sooner than later for that.
Yeah, this is all. I mean, all this stuff that we're showing off today is stuff that obviously the community has been asking for. Fences, which we haven't gotten to yet, but staircases, retaining walls.
Yeah. Let me just jump into.
Are you going into fence land?
Yeah, I was going to go show off some of the walls that we have. So there's a few components we have. So there's posts to go with each set of wall, and then there will be wall pieces. So we have nice long ones, so you don't have to spend forever dragging out small areas, and then various sizes to help deal with the change in elevation on the terrain, or if you want an arc or a curved wall or something like that, you have pieces to help recreate that.
So Liquid Snake had asked about dragging the stairs to make them longer, and the answer to that, Liquid, is kind of what Paul is showing now. There's not a function to drag the wall pieces or the stair pieces to make them longer, but there are 3 or 4, I'm just making that up, 2 or 3 or 4 different size pieces. So, there'll be a one that's 2 feet long, for example, in the walls that Paul is showing. There'll be one that's 2 feet long, and there's one that's 5 feet long, and one that's 10 feet long, kind of thing, and you can build them onto each other, as opposed to dragging them out.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. We'd like to get a drag out feature in for them. But for now, we figured we'll give you some walls to play around with. It'll be a little more time consuming than just being able to drag them, but that is on the radar. So there's a lot of different types of fences here. There's brick walls. There's these wood fences. The wood fences. I want to point out they're the ones that really show off the posts that we have. So if I place, because you'll see they're sort of floating at the end, So these ones sort of require you to place the posts yourself. The other ones you can sort of snap them together. So if I put a wooden post there and bring this guy in. Oh, that's a tall wooden post. So, and then go back to this wooden post and line those up. Oh, there's that. Then you'll see sort of stuck it into the side instead of behind it, but Jim's cringing somewhere at home watching this, but I'm not the artist, so but you'll see how the pieces sort of come together and will form.
I like this fence in particular. I'm a fan of this fence.
Yeah, it's the old rustic fence you see out in the rural areas.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. Oh. So yeah, there's a quick fence that's just running out in the rough or something like that. Well, not a question why it's there, but it's a historical landmark of some kind. Say.
This is Paul showing you how it works, not necessarily
not
giving you aesthetic design tips.
Yeah. So we.
Hey man, it's not uncommon that you see like an 8-foot section of fence out in the middle of nowhere.
No, I mean we
in the light rough and it's just kind of sitting there. That's common.
There's a course about 45 minutes from here where you have to play around a small cemetery. So that's. I've seen weirder things, or if you need to make up a stroke, you can hit over the cemetery. And
I can't wait to see what people do with these fences, the retaining walls, and the stairs. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we have the old chain link fence here as well, a new one. So it has the same little post at the end. So one of the things we've done with them, as you'll see, is we sort of set the rotation point at the end, so you can. You're not rotating it about the middle, which means your ends it's going to be tricky to have them line up. So I can put this piece down, jump to the next post, line those up, and then now this is sort of snapped to where the last post lined up. That's a little off kilter there, but they'll if you go we sort of designed the system as sort of post fence as you're going around. So you see, you lay out your fence, add a post in to what the fence would be supported by, and then add the next fence piece to it. And you're.
So Paul, tell me this. I was playing with this a little bit, but very little up to this point. If I had a chance to play this, so if you're trying to go up over a hill, for example.
Yep.
Will it follow the hill? Can you put it up over a hill?
It won't follow the hill very well, unfortunately. The metal one's probably not the best one for going over a large hill. We do have the various post size though, so you can sort of have a tall post at one end that meets up with like a lower wall below it, so it's sort of a stepped look.
Right.
Let me jump into the brick wall. That's probably a little easier to see.
So a couple people, this is not GNCD stuff, Paul, but I'm just going to answer a couple things while you're doing that.
Yep, go for it.
A couple people asked about snow and rain. I don't think we're talking about that yet. I know somebody in our office tweeted out an image of some raining at the golf club. I don't know who did that, but I'm just kidding. But we are not. I don't think we're commenting on that quite yet, guys. So we will at some point, but just not quite yet. Just so you know.
So yeah, this is sort of the stepped look that I was talking about. If you see going up the hill, we have the posts will match up, and then.
Yeah.
So it's not not necessarily 100%. Accurate to what you'll see with every wall, but we feel this should allow a lot more creativity and a lot more designs out there for people. So, and then to come back the other way, we've these taller posts. So if we were going down a hill, let me find a good slope to. For out in the woods here. Then you use the taller post to sort of match up the top of where you're coming from, and then the next wall piece would settle in next below it. So yeah, there's then you get a nice old brick wall running wherever you want around your course.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of the same system there as well with the longer pieces, so we can. No, that didn't line up at all. So.
I wonder. I don't know. I'm wondering if you're the first person to, and I'm sure at some point we will have some community designers on and get some tips and tricks from these guys that are, putting hundreds of hours into the course creator. But you may be the first who we've put in a position to have to design live on camera.
Yeah, I like to play around with the designer, but obviously the community has just been pretty amazing. Blown away. Like the stuff they do is I couldn't come up with that. I'll just put the tools out for everybody and. So that's that high brick wall. Jump through some other ones. We have a sort of a metal fence like this. So you have an iron, like sort of a old grate that would ring around. Maybe like a tool shed or the greenskeepers area or something like that. And they're all set up to run with the same system. We have different posts there that would line up with them. Yeah, like I said, there's still some issues with them being clipped out especially with these long ones when they're when the camera's thinking they're not around anymore. So that's just a couple things we're gonna address in the next couple days. So, and then there's the rotation about that 1 point. So if you're trying to hit an angle, or if you want just a slight change or something like that, it's really easy to do, and it's sort of fixed to where the center of that post would be. And then you move on to the next one. And so this is that'll show you it's probably just a little too long for that slope, so go back in and raise that up.
Now, once you've done that, Paul. So if you see, like for example, the ground is a little bit, there's a little bit of exposure between the bottom of that fence that you just laid in the ground.
Yeah.
You can always still take the surface brush and raise that land up just like you did.
Yeah, just like I did there. You're good to do that. Yeah, a lot of these we also put some space below the ground for where the fences would go in. You'll see the sort of as the downhill of this piece goes. You see more of the cement. So we've done that just to sort of help you get with some small contours, so you don't necessarily have to go in and tweak every little thing.
Right.
Another solution there, I could have obviously did the stepped look, but I was just trying to make it ease of use, and then someone's going to go out and do something crazy that looks like they've spent a week and a half on and just blow us all away. So we'll look forward to that.
That's absolutely right. So people are talking about maybe postponing some of the design contests that were out there until these tools come out.
Yeah, those design contests are great too. I like seeing the courses that come out of there. So
me too. They just a couple of our community members just started a par 3 design course, which they were alluding to the idea that for a par 3 course in particular, they might want to wait till the retaining walls are out.
Oh yeah,
so they can really do some of those island greens and.
Well, hopefully we'll get them out sooner than later for everybody. So.
Do we have one of our community members, JW Fickett, is asking us if we have new clubhouse options on the horizon? I don't remember talking about that actually.
No, there's nothing. Nothing. It's been something we've discussed. The clubhouses are actually a lot of work for Jim to do up for the artists, just because they are complex and the colliders, everything need to sort of be specific for them. I know there's we've adding like new clubhouses. I know I've brought up like every one of our clubhouse looks like you sort of need $1 million to join or something like that. So it'd be nice to get a few more rustic looking buildings that you might see.
Muni clubhouses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and as for customization, I know somebody asked something about the form about making things look your own. We are playing around with some ideas to change the colors on the various props around the course, clubhouse, buildings, wall signs, and whatnot. So there hasn't been a whole lot done or I haven't been told to do this for sure, but it's definitely something that we have discussed. Where whether we give you a palette of colors or let you just go in and tweak around like a full color picker there. It's definitely something we do want to do, is let you put some red trim on your clubhouse stay instead of the green that we have, or maybe the the yardage markers, or not the yardage markers, sorry, but the course signs have blue instead of the green. So
what about, did we talk about are flags part of that discussion or no?
Flags are part of that discussion as well. So there's with what we did for the tee boxes with the different colors, we want to do the same thing with the flags, and they're a little bit tricky because the materials are a little different. But I think it's just a matter of just finding a couple minutes to swap out the just write the code to swap out the textures. It's stuff sort of it does influence the course generation time each time we add more like that. So it's kind of we don't want to make things any more slower. I know if you're not running with a super high end system, it can be take a few seconds every time. So we're trying to find the best way to sort of do all this without having a large impact. But
that's one of the things we ran into recently. We obviously we just recently introduced. I'm going off book here, by the way. This isn't one of the questions that you've seen, but we just introduced the multi-plant tool, and what we saw happen, fortunately and unfortunately, was people were using it, which is great, but it really, for some of our courses, it ballooned the course size by like 600%. I mean, we went from our average like course file sizes being in the 100, 200, 300, 400K up to like 2, 3, 4 megs kind of thing.
Yeah. That was an unfortunate side effect of that, but we'll.
Is that something that I know we put the system in to limit the amount of objects. Is that something we're still, and of course I know the answer to this, but is that something that we're still working on addressing and dealing with that file size issue?
I think so. I haven't checked with the guys who deal more with the saving that side of thing to see where we're at with it. So I focus on what's going on in here, and then make their life more difficult when stuff like that happens. So.
When you do that tool, and then added the ability to multi-plant clubhouses.
Yeah, that would be. Well, I mean, the clubhouses are, they're huge for just the complexity and the colliders in them. Right. So that's why they cost so much. But saving wise, they shouldn't be any much more than all the plants. It's just one of them as opposed to 1,000 pieces of grass that somebody laid out. So. But, it's
they do cost a lot for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So the grass won't affect the frame rate as much. But
so Paul, let's talk about something that I get asked all the time, and I know that people want to know about, and it's kind of, I think it's sort of all the same question, but maybe not. And that is fairway patterns, different sands in the bunker, and things like mulch and different textures for between the trees and stuff like that. Where are we at on that kind of stuff?
We're sort of where we've been for a while. Unfortunately, it's it is something I've looked into, swapping out the textures. It is doable. It's just a matter of getting the UI side set up so everybody can, it'll be easy to do. I think it's something we're going to start I'm going to start pushing for to get the people above me to give it the thumbs up and start working on. I know, one of the things is, just you go into all the different themes and they look great, but after a while they all start to look the same. So it'd be nice to, if you can just put those little tweaks, like change the mow pattern a little bit, or change, maybe this sand should, if this bunker was a little whiter sand or darker or something like that, you can just those little extra things to make your course look your own. It's definitely that's going to become the next priority, especially as, once we start filling out the larger areas that are missing, we're going to have these smaller details that we can start focusing on. Like not having fences before was, that'd be a big, like a big gap in what you had to design. No way to lay out a fence, was missing. Now that that's there, there's, and we're hopefully getting closer to filling in all those large gaps. We can start focusing on these small gaps, and
right.
I'm not. Hopefully, nobody is assuming I'm, talking down on just swapping the colors of the sand or something like that. It's something I think would be important to do. So.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, but it's more that it goes back to what, as you said at the beginning of this, trying to say it in a different way. But unfortunately, it is about budgeting the time, and right now we're attacking some of the bigger things, right?
Yeah, exactly. And hope with what we're doing, everybody will be happy with us and be still be into it once we do get to those smaller priority items right now. So.
Yeah. So are there other objects right now in the GNCD that you want to talk about?
That would have been bad.
I'm not sure what you're allowed to.
I think we're just mostly on the fences and the steps and the walls and stuff like that. I suppose I can cycle through. We do have here's just show the different types that we have available for you. So there's nice sort of brick wall mixed with the iron fence.
Well, remember they can't see the spinner at the top left.
Right. I'll just try to cycle through the actual
there we go.
Objects. So, and then I think that's about it. Oh, we have just a smaller brick wall as well. So you don't have. If I put it next to the other one here, you can sort of see the height difference. So whether you just have one of those little, like a 2-foot fence that runs along, or if you want to combine the two, that's we have a bunch of options for everybody out there. I don't know what else there really is that I can go over. I think this is probably the big new course design changes that we're going to switch in. And then like we saw there, some of the new brushes that Jim has thrown in are there. But yeah, I think this is all the new content that I can really show off right now. So.
Okay, so I have some more questions for you.
For sure, yeah.
So the headhunter wanted to know what do you want in the designer that's not there yet? Is there something in particular that is a little sort of pet project of yours that you want to get in there that's not there yet?
Yeah, I think cart paths are the big thing for me. That's like when I said missing holes. I think that's probably one of the biggest ones. That's been something when I do get some downtime, I am tweaking around with that, and there's some rudimentary versions of it that I have on my machine that are there, but it's not at the level that where we can push it out or even show it off. There's it's more, we wanted to do it more than just laying out surfaces the way you do with the brushes. Make it a little easier, sort of laying down waypoints and stuff like that of where your path would go. So that's something I'm working on. Hopefully we can get that out there for within, not the next update, but some shortly after that, whenever the scheduling is. And then that hopefully will also let us throw in some other surface types, like somebody was asking about pine straw or wood chips or stuff like that. With luck, we'd be able to leverage some of the extra resources required by that to include more textures as well. I think you mentioned before when I missed it, and with one of the questions, there's just different surfaces that people want added in. So that's sort of the push. Hopefully, if we can get the cart paths in, that should open up some the way the course generator works in the background to allow us to add in a couple more surfaces as well. So you can go and I can paint some pine straw or wood chips or some of those extra little details that you see the well manicured course and stuff like that. So
sure.
And then
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say go ahead. Yeah, that's.
So I want to have you. I mean, I have a few more questions for you, but you and I talked about it. I was wondering if you would do a little demo. I thought maybe like some tips and tricks around or explanation for those. Most of the people watching this have been creating for a while, but there are several who maybe are kind of new to the creator, and I thought we would maybe do some tips and tricks or just a quick rundown of the surface brushes and the difference between flatten and raise and when to use the red and blue brushes and
for sure.
The best use of those.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing people run into are by far we have the sculpt and the sculpt fairway. So the red and the blue brushes that people are always talking about. When we're trying to remember the wording of it, it's been a while since I actually did a write up on this, so I'll try to be as clear as I can. There's basically two passes of height edits that go on when you're working in the game. We set the base height of the terrain that you have, and then we put surfaces down on top of it. And you'll see, like, people see this a lot. Like, why is the fairway flattening this out? Is we've put some flattening in for the surface for the fairway and the green, just so you don't get these extreme slopes that that naturally happen. A lot of that was just to do with the random generation, but it sort of gets in the way of some people when they work on it. After the fairway, the surfaces have gone through and flattened out the terrain, we then have a second height edit that goes through, which are the blue brushes, and those will sort of influence that. So if you have a flattened fairway, you can go and use the blue brush and sort of add a hill to that or a contour or whatever. So if I'm gonna raise up a big hill here, that's not just the brush I want.
While you're picking those brushes, so one of our forum members was asking about our handicaps, and so I should tell everybody that when looking at, I think yours says 4.7 or something like that.
Yeah, 4.5, but that's.
I would never ever I wouldn't use our handicaps as sort of the benchmark, because I'm constantly playing courses, testing stuff, playing through them a few holes at a time, speed playing through them, just to check out the courses, and so I wouldn't consider my handicap accurate. I'm not sure how accurate everybody else's in the office is, but.
Yeah, this is that's also off of this is connected to our local server, so the courses aren't always there. And I to be honest, I find I don't get to play the game as much as I would like. I'm spending more time in the course creator editing things, so I haven't. I think
always the case.
Yeah. So if you see here on this hill, how the fairway has been cut into the side of the hill, so that's basically the pass that the fairway flattening does that I mentioned. So this was raised up using a red brush, so that would be the first pass. Then the fairway cuts into it, and then if I go into sculpt land, I can raise up another little hill on top of it here using the blue brush. Whereas if I were to use the red brush and try to do something similar, it wouldn't have as big of an effect, or you also get the crazy where it sort of distorts everything. So that's just the ordering, throwing everything off. So that's basically just you sort of need to know the timing. Like if you start with an empty area, the red brushes are great. You can use them, but once you have surfaces down, there can be some problems with them. And if you're trying to get the right edits, then you can use the blue ones to pull those off. I'll if you give me a second, I'll show the same thing but done with a blue brush, where if I raise this up, I think that's roughly the same height. And if you see how the blue brush is applied after the fairways do their work, you'll see how that sticks to the surface of the ground as it was. So you get you wouldn't be able to play that in real life. Your ball's just going to roll off down the side. So I mean, obviously,
I've seen some greens that look like that. Actually.
Yeah, that's true. So but that's the effect of the two. Like, this is a red brush with the fairway on top of it, and then that's the blue. So hopefully that clears it up. I think I have an old thread on the forum with a picture similar to this, but it's just the ordering. So the fairway is being drawn along a flat piece of ground, and then we're raising it up, as opposed to the ground is being raised up and then the fairway is going on top of it. So
right.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I have a couple more questions for you.
Sure.
You're going to love this one. I think you saw this. This is a background question.
Okay.
Somebody asked if there would ever be dynamic backgrounds on in TGC. You know?
I'm not sure what they mean by that.
I'm not actually either. I was going to ask you if you knew what they meant.
Yeah, I don't know if they mean like the sun moving around, or like if I want to get really technical, those clouds are moving. That seems pretty dynamic. But
right. So I'm not sure. Maybe we should bypass that one because I don't know what that is either.
Yeah, I'll jump on the forums and see if they get some more clarification on what they meant.
We definitely have had questions, of course, about themes. We know about the interest in the tropical theme, but one thing that also comes up fairly frequently is a city-oriented theme.
Yeah, that's been something I've mentioned a few times. There's no real push for it. I think I don't know whether you want to make your course in, like if you want to have a bunch of buildings running down the side. Like I know there's, if you think St. Andrews at 18, where the old road that runs next to it, it'd be nice to be able to just get some different buildings to recreate something like that. Right. And then I know I've mentioned it before to Jim that off in the distance it would be nice to have some buildings off in the backdrops that we have. So that's on more his radar. Like once he makes has the resources made for them, we can it'll be up to me to put them into the game, or he can just have them drop in some cases. They'll it's mostly on his time and what he's working on. So
if we try to do it though, and we haven't talked about this personally, you and I, but if we try to do if people were thinking about literally making a course, like for example, let's say you live in the city of Denver, Colorado, where I'm from, which is a city of 3 million people, and there's a course in the middle of the city, right?
Yeah.
And so there's buildings, maybe not like a course that has houses right along it, although there are those.
Yeah.
But there's sort of city around you. If we were to do that, if we were to create city around like that, is it true that buildings are high cost assets, as we talked about, rendering them for frame rate and stuff like that? If you really tried to create like a course that was inside of a city, would we not run into frame rate issues and
it'd be possible. Like it'd definitely take a lot of work to like I'm right here at the edge of the ground. You can sort of see how we have this long flat area of trees beyond it. That's just sort of the background before the hills take over. Right. You to litter this with buildings all around it, skyscrapers, houses, or whatever, that would be very expensive.
Right.
But there could be some tricks we might have to look into. Maybe they'd be the flip side of that is if we used super low detail buildings, but then are those going to look good? You know, like
Right.
if you're right here and you turn around and you look, like you can see where the ground changes. You know, just the detail on just on the texturing of the ground. So we wouldn't want to necessarily just throw that in and fill it up with super expensive buildings, but we also don't want to make something that's, you know, just ugly and hideous from when you can get this close to it.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The first golf course I ever played at was in the middle of the city I'm from, and it was, I mean, not as big as Denver, but you know,
Right, but it's a city.
yeah, it's a
Right.
city, and you know, you see it off, you know, you seen houses and buildings and stuff like that off in the distance. So it would be, it's, you know, definitely something. Whether, you know, whether we, you know, we go with the approach of the course is just near a city, so there's the big sprawling metropolis off in the background where we can get away with the lower details a little more. So
Right.
as opposed to you know, whether you're just going to be right here and there's, you know, this big skyscraper 20 feet away.
Right.
So
Right.
you I think
Some sort of medical office building or something.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
The most likely situation I would imagine is just sort of, you know, oh yeah, there's a community or something off, you know, in that direction when you look
Right.
there or something, or depending
Right.
on how it gets laid out. So
All right, I got one more for you, Paul,
okay.
that people ask about fairly frequently.
Hmm.
I lied. I have two more for you. One of them might be easy, and that's bigger plot sizes.
Yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. It'd be nice to make it bigger, but unfortunately, with the way the system's built up, we use a lot of textures to just track where all the various, you know, pieces of grass, the fairways, the rough, the water level. A lot of the course generators depended on that, and it's fairly large now as it is. If we make it that even bigger, we'd run into, you know, those texture sizes would have to go up, and then
Right.
on top, so then we're hitting memory issues, especially on, you know, a PS4, which is, you know, PS4, Xbox One, where we're limited in the amount of RAM that's available. So that's something we
Mm-hmm.
need to be aware of. You know, on a PC, it's easy. You just put more sticks of RAM in it, you're good. But
Right.
you know, that's an issue if we were to make this bigger. And then there's just sort of the, you know, do we make it, you know, the versioning to go with it is like, is this bigger for everyone? Is, you know, do all the other courses all of a sudden, you know, have more
Get
space to them?
bigger.
So
Right.
I
Right.
wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't expect that to happen. It'd be nice.
It's okay. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's okay if we have to say that. Like
yeah.
it's probably that is probably not. We don't say that very often, actually.
No,
Um,
I mean, I try not to because, you know, because they're all, you know, there's no bad ideas basically, right? So
right.
there's always something to be considered. So I know I've run into it a couple times where I've been laying out a course, like an old links course, and just going from corner to corner and just basically getting in by the skin of my teeth with you know, the area I was using.
Right.
So hopefully, you know, everybody else is running out of room can find a way around it. So
Yeah. All right. So my last question for you, this time I mean it, is the one that I have heard a few times, which is a question about waypoints. And again, this is not something we've talked about, but people have asked for additional waypoints. Some of them for double dog legs,
yep,
and some of them just to gain maybe a little bit more fine camera control,
yep, no,
because sometimes that flyby goes off where you don't want it to because of the nature of the way the waypoints are laid out.
yeah, for sure. To be honest, this was a fairly high priority, but then once we put the surfaces in, for double dog legs mostly, once we put the surfaces in, like being able to paint the fairway back
Mhm.
in, what was it, December or something like that, a while ago,
Yeah.
that became less of an issue just because you could then sculpt your double dog leg out of what was there. As for how the camera goes in the preview, you know, that's obviously that's definitely a concern that we have. So um, whether we go back to adding more waypoints to solve that issue, or find another way to, you know, choose how that camera tracks, we haven't really discussed what we're going to do with that. I don't think adding adding more I don't think adding more waypoints is necessarily something that is completely off the table, but just got shifted down now. It was originally just to the big push was so you can do the double dog legs, or maybe you have a lake and you're playing around the edge of that. You can get the sorry, I'm losing my words here. You can get the the fairway to follow the curve of the lake or something like that easier. But now with the surface brushes that push that back. It's one of those things where I don't want to. We'll hopefully get to it sooner than later, but I don't have a great idea of when they're gonna pop up again. So
it's, I mean, again, it's obviously we're aware of it. It's something that's on the list, but fair enough that it's sort of moved down a little bit because we addressed a big part of what the utility is that by adding the surface brushes, and so we'll have to look at how that affects fairways, and then or how that affects the camera. Excuse me, during flybys.
Yeah.
And then of course we would have to, as somebody pointed out in the chat, that also affects the club, so the automatic club selection, all that.
That's true too. So there are. Yep.
That's why things take time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not a giant team working on this, but we'll do our best with it, and we'll get there. So.
That's right. We keep plugging away, and we I know that the community appreciates it, Paul, and thank you for taking the time to come and demonstrate this. I know people are going to be super excited about the retaining walls that you're showing off, and the fences and the stairs, as well as the new theme. I think people will also be very excited about that as well. So I can't wait to see what people do with all this.
I'll just show this off for. JW Fickett asked for a brick wall in front of this.
Yep.
Let me just show that for him.
You want to know if you could put a brick wall in front of the retaining walls?
Yeah. So the brick walls are snapping to the ground, so you definitely can do it. The key is just to sort of adjust the drop off that you have there. So that one's not lining up perfectly, but if you went in and sort of lowered the ground underneath it, you should be able to get something that doesn't look too bad.
While you're working on that, I will say to JW that as you alluded to earlier too, you're hoping down the line to put in different kinds of retaining walls as well. This is just likely the first retaining wall.
Yeah. So yeah, that dropped it down a little. But anyways, there's I've just done it once or twice. I haven't actually figured out a good workflow to making that run smoothly, but you should be able to see where you can use the existing walls to cover up the retaining wall and hopefully get a different look if you're willing to put the time in to have them line up and lay out two sets of walls. So
I can't imagine that somebody out there won't figure out the way to do that. I'm sure. I'm curious to know if the benches got used as stairs. I'm curious to know what the stairs will get used as.
Oh yeah, I look forward to it. Yeah. So.
All right, Paul. Well, thank you very much for taking the time. I know that I'm sure we will do more course creation sections with members of the community and with yourself again, and we'll look to people to see what else, other than what's new, which I know people want to see, if there's any other tips and tricks that they're interested in. Like I said, we'll probably have some designers on as well, and hopefully have you back on the Twitch to talk about some stuff in the Course Creator.
Yeah, for sure. This is a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing what the community does with everything we provide them. So.
Indeed. All right. Well, thank you again, and guys, thank you very much. We're going to wrap it up, and we will be back next week. I don't know yet who we'll be talking to next week, but we will be back next Wednesday with another Twitch. So, thanks again, guys, and take care. We'll see you next week.